All right, let's talk about Bitcoin. I know, it can be a super confusing world, but today we're going to cut through all that noise with a really powerful, true story that gets to the heart of why any of this matters. And it starts with a question that is pure nightmare fuel.
I mean, seriously, think about that. It sounds like something from a movie, right? A total worst-case scenario. But for some people, this isn't just a scary thought. It's something they've actually lived through.
And that brings us to a guy named Tony Yasbeck. He was living his life in Beirut when, basically overnight, the entire banking system just imploded, and it took every single person's savings down with it. One day, things are normal. The next, it's all just gone.
Can you even imagine that? This quote just hits you. The shock of it. You go out, have a normal night, and wake up to find out your life's work is vanished. The cards are useless, the banks are ghost towns, the system you trusted your whole life just hung up on you.
The ugliest movie. That phrase just sticks with you, doesn't it? This isn't just about losing money. It's about having the entire foundation of your life ripped out from under you. And, it's an experience like that that would make anyone start searching desperately for a different way.
So how could something like this even happen? Let's zoom out from Tony's story for a second and look at the bigger system. Because the argument we're exploring today is that this wasn't just a freak accident in one country. It's a symptom of a fundamental problem with the money we all use every day.
And from this point of view, the problem has a name: fiat currency. The idea here is that the dollars, euros, or yen in our bank accounts aren't really money in the truest sense. They're tools used by governments to control and watch people, and their value is constantly being chipped away because governments can and do print more of it whenever they want.
And you can really see the two different philosophies when you put them side by side like this. The fiat world, it's all centralized. You need permission to do things, its value goes down over time, and the whole thing runs on you trusting politicians and bankers. The Bitcoin world, on the other hand, is the total opposite. It's decentralized, nobody can give or deny you permission, the supply is absolutely fixed, and it's based on math and computer code. It's a shift from trusting people to trusting math.
So after his world was turned upside down, Tony Yasbeck found Bitcoin. And for him, it wasn't some hot new investment to gamble on. No way. It was a lifeline. It was a completely different system that offered an escape hatch from the one that had failed him so spectacularly. And this quote, man, it just says it all, doesn't it? This gets to the soul of what Bitcoin represents for so many people. It's more than just tech, it's a statement. It's the power to just say, you know what, I'm out. I don't trust your system anymore, I'm taking my ball and going home.
But you might be thinking, okay, cool idea, but can't the government just, shut it down? Well, here's a really simple way to think about it. Bitcoin is peer-to-peer technology. It's like the tech used for file-sharing music and movies back in the day. And the argument is pretty compelling. For decades, governments with all their power have tried and failed to stop people from sharing a song online. If they can't stop an MP3, how on earth are they going to stop a global, decentralized form of money?
Okay, so if you can't defeat Bitcoin head-on, what do you do? Well, the argument is that the attack has just gotten smarter, more subtle. We're in a new phase now. It's not about a direct fight anymore. It's about co-option.
You can actually see this play out in stages. First, the powers that be just ignored it, right? Oh, that's just silly internet money. Then, when it didn't go away, they tried to fight it, to ban it, and that didn't really work. So what's step 3? Well, if you can't beat them, join them, and then control them from the inside.
And this new strategy has given rise to something called paper Bitcoin. What is that? Well, think of the new Bitcoin ETFs, or even just leaving your Bitcoin sitting on an exchange. Yeah, you get to see the price go up and down, but here's the catch. You don't actually own the Bitcoin. You own an IOU, a promise from a company. You're right back to being dependent on the same old financial system.
And this, right here, brings us to what might be the single most important point of this whole conversation: the massive difference between owning paper Bitcoin and owning real Bitcoin. The secret, the true revolution, is in a little concept called self-custody. According to Tony, this is the part that changes the game completely. Notice how governments and big banks will talk all day about Bitcoin as an asset class, but they almost never, ever say these two words: self-custody. And you have to ask, why? Because self-custody takes them out of the picture. It cuts out the middleman. It removes their power. So let's just break this down because it's super important. When your Bitcoin's on an exchange or in an ETF, the institution is in control. What you own is an IOU. Your risk of being censored or shut down is high, and you need their permission to move your money. But with self-custody, You control it. You own the actual asset, not a promise. There's zero censorship risk, and you don't need to ask anyone for permission to do anything.
This is the end game. This is what it's all about. True financial sovereignty. It's described as unconfiscatable power. The power to be your own bank, where your wealth can't be frozen, it can't be seized, and it can't be censored.
And what makes all of this possible? What makes it so different from the money we use every day? It all comes down to this number, 21 million. That's it. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin. Ever. It's written in the code. That absolute scarcity is the total opposite of fiat currencies that can be printed into infinity.
So, we end up right back where we started with a question for you. After hearing about what happened in Beirut and understanding this difference between a financial IOU and real ownership, it really makes you think, doesn't it? When you look at your own money, your own savings, do you truly own it, or are you just trusting someone else to let you use it? It's a critical question, and it's more important now than ever to have an answer.